Let's welcome back to MidPoint, retired from the United States Army at the rank of Major General, veteran military analyst, former Deputy Commanding General for the Pacific Command, Paul Vallely. Major General, let's turn to Benghazi, if we will. I have two columns sitting in my hand here after the most recent Republican report came out on Benghazi. One here says that members of the party have made Benghazi, the disaster, even more difficult to comprehend by advancing a series of bizarre conspiracy theories intended to besmirch the Obama administration. But here's another. America's Benghazi tragedy had to be a terrorist attack from the get-go. Please, Major General, help us make some sense of this all. What's the reality, in your opinion, of Benghazi? Is it a waste, or do we continue to move forward?
Ed, we have to continue to move forward. And as you may know, I'm a member of the Citizens Commission on Benghazi, which is made up of a number of senior retired generals and admirals, the CIA, Defense Department officials, and some very, very smart lawyers. And we've completely debunked that House intelligence report that came out by Mike Rogers and Dutch Ruppersberger. You know, it appears to be a complete whitewash of the CIA, as well as the State Department, and the complicity of the Obama administration in the cover-up. So we've got to press forward, get to the truth. Trey Gowdy evidently will start conducting his hearings again probably in the next week or 10 days, which will be the second hearing that he's had.
What is there left to find when you look at all the various things that were discovered in this recent report and then basically said it never happened? So if we're going to go forward here, in your opinion, your commission, your group, what is the one thing that we must push forward on and that answers are still not forthcoming on?
Well, I mean, there's three parts to the whole thing, Ed. It's the before the attack, during the attack, and after the attack, the lies and deceptions that have been put out there by members of the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton, Leon Panetta, General Dempsey, when they said we didn't have the assets in the area to even conduct a rescue operation, when in fact we did, and we've interrogated and interviewed many witnesses who were active duty members in the Mediterranean at that time. So the truth has not come out yet, and that's why Trey Gowdy must get to the truth and explain to the American people what were the failures throughout those three phases that I just talked about.
When you hear reporters and when you hear...
We have the witnesses to validate it.
Okay, when you hear columnists such as Michael Cohen in the Boston Globe saying that they, meaning Republicans and people who push this, owe Americans an apology about Benghazi, how angry does that make you?
Well, it makes me very angry. You know, if you read the book 13 Hours, when you had the contractors there at the annex validating that they did get some don't move forward, stand down order, it makes all of us angry because no rescue operation was even attempted. So that it probably incites me and the other retired military more than any. We never let anybody on the battlefield. We never let anybody in harm's way, including State Department and other Americans, and that's what we're most upset about.
General, I have a couple of minutes left. Let me turn to the Secretary of Defense. Chuck Hagel is out. He's staying, though, until they find someone else. No one wants the job yet, and there's a thinking going around Washington that no one would want it because they're only going to be there for a year, a couple of years maybe, and then they're going to be bounced out, so why would they want to take the job? My question is, where do we then go for leadership in what seems to be a very serious military vacuum?
Well, I mean, it's a tragedy what's happened in the Defense Department, of course, with policy and the strategy of dealing with the Middle East and ISIS and so on, and the lack of the ability of the national security team in the White House. And we know Valerie Jarrett's driving a lot of this stuff that Obama does in regards to national security. And then you have an inept Susan Rice that should not be in that position. So it's very frustrating to the senior military leaders and senior defense officials over there to have a strategy that will actually work today and can be executed with an end game of victory. Now, there are some very I would say competent people that are retired that could take that job. I know Admiral Ace Lyons would just be superb as the Secretary of Defense, but even these people aren't going to volunteer to step forward and be considered because of this estrangement between the White House and the Defense Department. They have to be a team to provide national security to America, and there's no teamwork there right now.
Only got about 10 seconds left. Would it be your opinion then that what the president really wants here is nothing more than sycophants around him?
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what he has. And they basically have gutted the military in many different ways, Ed. And so the morale is very bad within our armed forces today. And as I've said before, I had an epiphany. I would not shed another ounce of American blood in the Middle East until we have the leadership that can lead us to victory and to protect and secure America and our forces. I just would not do it.
And that is going to be all the time we have. The book, once again, is Endgame. The author, the co-author, is Major General Paul Vallely. Major General, thank you so much. We'll talk again.
Okay, Ed, thanks.
And MidPoint continues.